Let's be honest here. You passed your AWS certification or any other certification. You studied for weeks. You have the badge to show for it. You have the theoretical knowledge. You know the services. Then what's next? How do you transfer that knowledge you gained from the certifications into real-world architecture? If I'm going to be honest, in today's fast-paced and competitive cloud world or AI world, employers want to see what you can build. They want to see proof that you can build something, that you can, from every certification you've taken or no certification you've taken, they want to see that you can actually build something. You can transfer that knowledge into solving real world business problems. So having certification, in my opinion, is like having a driver's license. Anyone can go drive for a few miles and get a driver's license. But what employers actually want to see is seeing you in a NASCAR on the lane, on the tracks, driving. That is what they want to see. They want to see you driving on the NASCAR track and see how you maneuver the tracks. That is the experience they want you to see. They want to see from you. So apart from taking the certifications, they want to make sure that you have the experience. That's what this video and this whole CloudGuard portfolio is all about. Hi, my name is Mo, and I'm going to be building 100 projects on this channel. Stay with me as I go over the whole foundation account with you. This video is going to cover the foundation accounts, all the accounts we need to set up first. Without a good foundation, every other thing we are building is not going to work. So right now we're going to set up the good foundation for the accounts. Before you deploy workloads or anything, we need to build the foundation first. This is where we're going to build an enterprise ready accounts, where if you're trying to work for an enterprise, you need to build something they use that emulates something they use. The default accounts we set up while studying for certification is not going to cut it, because building with enterprise in mind is different from building with a default account. So now we're going to go over the setup of the foundation accounts and how we're going to set it up, the naming conventions and everything. And stay tuned while I take you over there and show you everything we're going to build. So passing an AWS certification or any certification in general does not guarantee any job offers. It just proves theoretical knowledge, but employers demand practical evidence of real world skills. And the gap between certification and employment stems from these three critical dependencies. One is there is no proof of implementation. So certification tests knowledge, not the execution. Anyone can take the certification, but executing what you've learned is another skill entirely. Now, when you're taking certification, you have this single account thinking, where you just set up an account and then that is the account you walk out from, and most learners don't really know how to go beyond that default account settings. So they are missing that enterprise context, which real jobs really need from you. So like I said earlier, certifications are like the driver's license. Anyone can get a driver's license to drive a car, but what employers want to see is to see you on the track. For example, you can get a driver's license to drive any car, but can you drive a Formula 1 car? That's what employers want to see for proven experience. And this is where the CloudGuard portfolio comes into play, where we're going to build together all our cloud projects and then showcase everything in the public so that everyone can see and track. So just to follow up on this, the hiring managers in the cloud, an engineer will consistently look for 3 competencies that certifications cannot actually validate.
they need to understand that you can build architectures secure by design, not proactive. Not you have the proactive approach to building secured environment. After building, then you now start securing the environment. No, they want to understand that you can build it securely from scratch. They also want to make sure you can manage multiple accounts with centralized policies and cost controls. These are the things they are looking for, because when they are setting up their own account, like we're going to set up in our account here and in our project here, we are setting up multi accounts and we can manage them collectively. This is where the experience comes into play. They also want to make sure that you understand naming conventions, because naming conventions, using naming conventions, automation, centralized logging and identity management becomes so easy. So this is like a building foundation that proves that you think like an enterprise architect. You're not just building because you want to pass a certification. You're building because you understand the reason why you're building and you're following best practice. So this is where we now introduce how we're going to build the CloudGuard foundation, the main foundation we set up to build every other architect we're going to build on. So this is going to be a multi-account environment that serves as the bedrock for all the projects we're going to build. So looking at this is more than just a tutorial exercise. The production grade implementation mirroring what Fortune 500 companies build. This is what they build in their own environment. So we're going to be using that to build our project, so that when you work on this project, you're showing employers and hiring managers that, look, I've built this and I can work in your environment because I built this on my own and I know how everything operates. So we're going to be building, for this my project, I'm going to be building 11 accounts organized into 3 main organizational units. The first one is going to be the foundation organizational unit. The second one is going to be the sandbox, and the third one is going to be the workloads. Now, for the foundation organization, this is going to host our main accounts, like our core infrastructure and shared services that are long-lived and well protected. Here we're going to have our log archive for compliance, our identity accounts, our networking accounts, everything is going to be in here. So we manage everything from one organizational unit. So we're going to have one is going to be like the main account is going to be, everything's going to be in the foundation account. Then we also have a sandbox account. Now this sandbox account is where we safely experiment without risk to production or project environment. We set up things there, break things, destroy things and everything, and then that's it. We don't have to mess with the foundation account, but we're just working with the sandbox environment, and this in essence reduces the blast radius. So if something happens in one account, it doesn't affect the other accounts. And we're curtailing everything to just one and enforcing the principle of least privilege. Now the workloads accounts are accounts where I'm gonna be using to build like a just-in-time access, just-in-time accounts I need. Like I'm studying for the machine learning engineer associate account. I'm gonna open an account just for that machine learning. Once I'm done with it, I close the account and I can open a new one again. This keeps us monitoring our costs, enjoying the free tier, and also reducing the blast radius and everything. So these are mostly the workload accounts, are mostly the ephemeral project specific accounts that can be created and decommissioned as we need. So all we are doing here, 11 accounts. I'm creating 11 accounts. Now based on your needs, you may need to create however account you want to create, but I'm creating 11 accounts. 6 is going to be in the foundation account, 1 is going to be in the sandbox account, and I'm going to be building 5 in the workloads organizational unit. So depending on what you want to build, you can determine how many you want to build. And so in total, 11 accounts, 3 organizational units. This is going to help us have a centralized management with isolated workloads, and this is production grade architecture. So this alone shows that you have experience working with enterprise grade architecture. So, and since we're going to be managing 11 AWS accounts, but we're not going to be using 11 email addresses. Every AWS account requires a unique root user email address. So creating 11 separate inboxes is just impractical and unprofessional. So the solution we're going to use is the aliasing. So I think Gmail, Outlook, and most modern email providers support the plus addressing, where your email address and then you add a plus sign. Just like if this is my email address right here, and if I add a plus sign, then it sends everything to the same inbox. So for example, my email is mo@gmail.com. Then I can do mo +2@gmail.com, and this sends it to the same email address. So in essence, what we are doing is we have a single inbox where all accounts notifications land in one place. Easy filtering, we create Gmail filters, so we can create Gmail filters to organize those emails based on the account, and this makes it just so much professional, easily scalable. We can make like this email right now for user plus security at gmail.com, ml@gmail.com, all come into this same email, and I can access, even this one comes into here, and I can access everything from my user@gmail.com. So all you have to do is use the plus addressing, plus aliasing, and just send everything. So we're not creating 11 different email addresses, we're just using one email address, and now using the aliasing to send everything into one email address. And this you can scale infinitely, because you see here that I have my ML. I can change this to ML2, ML3, ML4, ML5, and just be scaling it infinitely. So this is just the best idea for this setup at this time. So let's set this up, and this is how we're going to be using for this setup. Now every account we are setting up with a purpose in mind. Now if you check here, we have, this is my CloudGuard foundation, and then management. Now what this specify is this one, every account is used for different purposes here, and it tells you right here what it's used for. So when you see an account name, you already know what that account is for and where it's going. This makes things so much easier for us, and this is a naming convention we are following here. So when you have a consistent naming convention, your automation is going to be way easier. You see, we have the CloudGuard as the root identifier. So this is our root identifier. Now this is going to specify our organizational units we're going to be setting up, and this is going to be specifying the purpose of which we're using the account for. So when we have a well-designed naming convention, it's a strategic asset that enables like automation, simplifies management, and signals professionalism whenever anyone sees your naming convention anywhere. So you can see that these are predictable names that easily enable automation. So like I said, the CloudGuard is going to be the root identifier. This is going to be the OU, and this is going to be the purpose. So for example, CloudGuard, foundation, and security. This is the identifier. This is the organizational unit. This is the foundation, and it's going to be for security login or security account. Same here. CloudGuard workloads, MLO1, CloudGuard sandbox, and main. So this is going to help us with automation, cost tracking if we want to use tag-based cost allocation, for clarity and for scalability. So this approach mirrors also AWS own recommendation and is used by companies all over the world. So this is what we're going to be working with. So with this, we are setting up what we know organizations use, so it's easier for us to blend in and tell them this is what we are doing, this is how we did it. So for the foundation account, this is what we're going to be building. First, we're going to create an account in AWS, and we're going to create an organization, right? Log in as root and enable organization in AWS. Create organizational units, create accounts, and then move those accounts into the organizational unit, and then assign policies, assign permission sets to those accounts and stuff like that. So this is what we're going to be building. It's going to be really, really fun, but we're going to go to the console and build that. But while we're still waiting on that, I'm going to walk you through every single step and reason why we're doing what we're doing. So building this multi-account foundation is not just a technical exercise, it is a strategic investment that delivers measurable advantages. For example, security by design, the benefit is reduced blast radius. The impact, if one account is compromised, attackers cannot pivot into other accounts without additional credentials. So we're limiting the blast radius. For centralized governance, we use SAP service control policies to enforce rules across the organization and block this blocks high risk services like restrict regions, and even enforce tagging policies from a single location, all from our organization. So instead of having the mindset of single accounts where you have to go into different accounts, no, we're doing everything within our SCPs from the organizations. Cost management, again, we can easily see the cost for every single account and direct all cost into a consolidated billing where we see every single thing in one specific place, so we don't have to go through all the accounts to see the billing. Operational maturity, this demonstrates that you know what you're doing. You're showing hiring managers that they can easily recognize that you understand the real world and how everything is organized in the real world. And this is also easily scalable because we can just use the infinite addressing to just increase and scale at large without any issues. So after setting up the organization, we're going to set up identity center where we're going to use single sign-on to log in and manage our account from a single point. So IAM Identity Center, or somewhat known as single sign-on, but right now it's known as IAM Identity Center, and this is going to help us centralize AWS access management. So managing access to a multi-account AWS environment using traditional IAM users is difficult. So this is what it used to be before. Different accounts, you have to remember different passwords for different accounts. For one user, you have different accounts you're logging into, you have to remember all these passwords. So if, for example, for us now, we have 11 accounts. We have credentials, no centralized management, high risk of leakage. This is just way too much, and this can easily be managed using the IAM Identity Center, where the user right here logs into IAM Identity Center and they are faced with a console where they can easily go into any account that they are assigned. So this makes it really easy with a single sign-on experience. One username, one password, access to all accounts. You have temporary rotating credentials, which means no more static access keys, centralized management. You can also assign role-based access control. So you assign access to users based on their roles. So this is recommended by AWS as the best practice for human user access. And this setup also supports integration with external IDPs. So for example, if we decide to use Active Directory or Okta, for example, this setup supports everything. So this is what we're going to be working with. And navigate to IAM Identity Center, enable with a one click, and then select the identities, which in our case we're going to be selecting IAM Identity Center directory, which is easy setup for us, and we're going to this proves you have the experience. So, and this is where we're going to organize the groups in the environment. So groups are the foundation for scalable permissions. So what we do is, instead of assigning permissions to individual users, we assign permissions to groups and then add users to the appropriate groups. For example, we have the administrator group, power user group, read-only group, billing group. So we now assign users to those groups. So when we're making changes, we're not making changes by the users, we're making changes at the group level. Easier for us to manage because we're going to be using the groups instead of the users. We can easily remove users from groups. Users can belong to multiple groups. Makes it easier for us to manage. So creating identity center is really a critical step. But what we're going to be doing is, when we create it, we're going to create a user, and then we're going to log out of the root account and then use the user to log in. So we're going to assign the user at admin access right here, and then we're going to log out and then log in as the user, save our root user account and not use it. So is to not use the root user for anything. Save the root user credentials somewhere, create a new user with admin access, and then this user becomes the main action. This saves our account from someone having root access and just making changes everywhere. So this is what we're going to be implementing. So we're going to define roles for the organization. So we're going to create permission sets. So permission sets are basically reusable templates that define what actions users can perform in your AWS account. So they function like the IAM roles, but are managed centrally in the identity center, in IAM Identity Center. So for example, we can use the predefined permission sets and assign to users. We can create custom, or we can create inline. For example, here we can groups, we can assign them these permission sets, or we can assign, so admin, for example, has access to all of this. Power user, so this is just how everything works. This billing, have access to billing. Read only, just read only. So this is how we're going to be assigning permission sets to the groups, and then inherently the users will inherit from that. Account assignments are where the magic happens in here. This step connects your groups with permission sets in specific accounts or OUs, automatically provisioning the necessary identity and access management rules. So behind the scenes here, what happens is IAM Identity Center automatically creates an IAM rule in each target account with a trust relationship back to IAM Identity Center. So when a user logs in via the single sign-on, they assume this role and receive temporary credentials, which is what happens right here. They receive temporary credentials. So this is going to make our lives much easier in the long run. So what happens is AWS Access Portal is the user-facing interface for IAM and Identity Center. It provides a single secure entry point for all AWS accounts and applications. So here we have the entry, that like the portal to log in. We log in, we have access, all the accounts we have access to. One username, one password account, we log in. We have a visual of the account we have access to. One click, you're logged into the console. One click, you get your CLI credentials, get temporary CLI credentials for either AWS CLI or SDK. Does never need to create or manage long-lived IAM access keys. All credentials are temporary and automatically rotate whenever so you can set the session for however long you want it. So users can rotate for as much as you want. So this makes it just so much easy for us. So why are we setting up the IAM Identity Center? Implementing IAM Identity Center delivers measurable security and compliance improvements that align with industry frameworks and best practice. Industry frameworks, CIS benchmark, recommends centralized identity management. For example, NIST 853 AC-2 supports AC-2, which is account management, and IA-2, which is identification and authentication. SOC 2 demonstrates strong access control and audit capabilities. ISO 27001 aligns with A.9.2, which is user access management. So everything here is compliant from scratch, which is what organizations want to see, and also saves us money because IAM Identity Center is included at no cost with AWS Organization. So instead of using external IDP, you have everything right here for you, all set free of charge for you to use. So this is what we're going to be using. I love free, and this is what we're going to be using for this my project here. All the setup we've done is something that will come up in most security interviews. You now have a hands-on experience to discuss how you set up your organization and then Identity Center to secure the organization. This is a no-brainer. So the foundation is just this. So this is just the beginning of what we are going to be doing. We build the foundation, set up Identity Center. We're going to be setting up service control policies. We're going to enforce centralized login, and then we're going to start the projects, the 100 projects. So you have just now implemented a professional centralized access management system for the entire organization, and this is a critical milestone for the projects we're going to be building from now on. So this is a very good step. We have secured the foundation. So this just tells you the competitive advantage you have right now by just setting up this organization and IAM Identity Center. So when you walk into a job interview with this foundation in your portfolio, you're no longer competing with other certified candidates. You are competing with experienced engineers. Why? Because the interviewer is going to ask you something like, tell me about your AWS experience. Other certified candidates are going to say, I passed the solutions architect associate exam and built probably a new Lambda function. You are not going to say that. You are going to say, I designed and implemented an enterprise grade 11 account AWS organization with centralized login, security tooling, and IAM Identity Center. That's what you're going to say. You're going to add by saying that you used this foundation to deploy 100 production grade projects across machine learning, security, and DevOps after you've completed 100 projects. That is what you are going to see, and that is what's going to set you apart from every other candidate on the interview. Now let's jump into the management console and then build this and then go from there. Go to create account. Here we want to use an email for the root user, so make sure you have the root user account email you're going to be using. For my case, we're going to be using dynamic email addressing with the alias. So this is going to be mine right here. So it's going to be this, and then plus my email plus the management account, since this is going to be the management account, and the account name for me is going to be this. CloudGuard Foundation Management. So it's going to ask us to verify the email. We should receive an email from AWS with a code, and this is my email right here. If you check here, this is the code. Copy the code, go back to the console and continue with the sign up. Paste it here and then verify. Now we're going to use to set up a root user, a root password. So right now I'm gonna set up and then go on. So we're gonna choose a free plan. Now we're gonna configure the name. I'm just gonna pause, go ahead and configure yours, and then come back when you're done with yours. So in the previous 2 pages, it demanded for your demographic information and also for your credit card number. It's not gonna charge you, but it just wants to hold the credit card number there. And on this page, it's gonna verify your phone number, or you should receive an SMS. And you should enter the verification code it sends to you. For me, I got 2582, and then continue. Then it's trying to set up your account right now. It should take a few minutes, then your account should be set up. Mind you, we are setting up this account with the root user, so whichever email you use in setting up the account, it's going to be the root user of the account. So right now you see we have the CloudGuard Foundation Management, so this is the management account right now. So from here we're going to go to AWS Organizations. Here, since this is our first time accessing this, is going to ask us to create an organization. So it's very simple. Just click on create organization and then create organization, and then that's it. Very simple. We have created the organization right now. So right now the next thing to do is to create our organizational units, right? So what we're going to do right now to create the organizational unit, so this is the roots and this is the money. You see here it says management account. This is the main management account right now. And to create organizational units, all you have to do is check this box, go to actions, and then create new organizational unit. The first organizational unit we're going to create is going to be the foundation. So foundation organizational unit. And then we're going to work with the tags much later, but right now create organizational unit, then create organizational unit. It's created that, so now we're going to do the same thing for the other organizational units. New, the next one is going to be sandbox. Sandbox, create organizational unit. Same process again. Create new, and this is going to be for the workloads. So So the workloads, create. So right now we have 1, 2, 3 organizational units. So next we're going to create accounts. So I'm going to walk you through creating one account. Then you're going to create the rest of the accounts you need. But for me, this is the accounts I need. I'm going to create right now. So go to add an AWS account, create an AWS account, and the AWS account name. So for me, the account name is going to be, the first one is going to be the log archive. Alright, and the email address for me is going to be cloud archive account. I'm going to leave the default role. I'm just going to create an AWS account. So this may take a few minutes to create. So after it's created, we can go ahead and create. While this is creating, it may take a few minutes, but you can go ahead and create the rest of the accounts you need. But for me, I'm going to create 5 more accounts, and then I'll come back here when everything is set. But whenever the account is ready, it should appear here. Okay, it took a few minutes, maybe about 3 to 4 minutes, but here it is. It's been created. So we're gonna go ahead and create I'm gonna go ahead and create the rest of the accounts, and I'll come back when everything has been created. So here it is. After I created the foundation account, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4, this is the management account 5, I tried to create another account. So right here, when I try to create the one for the sandbox account, so this is the sandbox account in the sandbox OU, and when I tried to create this one for the sandbox OU, I was faced with a problem which you guys may face too. So here it's saying you have exceeded the allowed number of AWS accounts. So apparently maybe I was not supposed to exceed more than 5 AWS accounts, but let me check AWS documentation real quick, and I'll come back and show you guys how many accounts we were supposed to be able to create at this time. But let me hold on, I'll come back 1 second. And this is one thing with AWS. So I was checking to see how many accounts I can create. They have the Amazon queue right here. Just click on it and ask questions. I was asking how many accounts I can create in an organization, and it tells me, okay, default minimum accounts, blah blah blah. Account creation limit: you can create a maximum of 5 member accounts concurrently at any given time. As soon as one account creation finishes, you can start creating another. There's a minimum age of 7 days before you can remove a newly created. So I think we can create more, but I think I'll just have to, let me see if I assign them into the OUs, if I can create more of the accounts. Let's see. So let me go back here. So right here on the accounts, we have them. So these, so now that we have the root, we have the foundation OU, the sandbox OU, and the workloads OU, now we have created some other accounts too. So these are all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are all part of the foundation OU. So right now we're going to move them into the foundation OU. So let's select these, go to actions here, move, and then we're going to select the foundation OU and then move AWS accounts. So it's going to move. So now we've moved them all into the foundation OU right there. So now let me try and see again if I can create the account again, if it's gonna let me. If not, I can do that at some other time. So now that those have been moved, let me see if it's gonna let me this time. Still no. Well, I'm gonna come back and try this again. But yeah, so now what we have done so far is to create the root account, create the organizational units, which we said we're gonna do, moved all the accounts in the foundation OU into the OU. Now we have everything set up right here. Next, we're gonna go to IAM Identity Center and set up our Identity Center, create our user, and then set up everything we need there, the permission sets and everything. So let's hop on to IAM Identity Center. So it's important that you're still logged in as the root user, because to be able to enable everything you enable in the IAM Identity Center, you need to be a root user. So right here, we're just gonna enable. It's tracking our region. This is optional, but now enable. So after enabling the IAM Identity Center, we're brought to the dashboard here. We can see that we're using the Identity Center directory here, US East 1. That's okay. But right now we're gonna create groups. So go to groups here, and then we're gonna create group. And the first group we're gonna create is gonna be let's use the AWS administrator groups. So right here, create AWS administrator groups, and this is for admin access. Sorry if I can spell. Admin access. No users here, so create group. And we're gonna do the same for the other groups too. I'm gonna create power users, and then create another one again. This is gonna be for read-only access. And for description, you can basically add anything. Like for this one, I'm just gonna add this. That way it's easier to remember for users who need read. I mean, you can tell from the read access, but I'm just saying this so you know you can add anything you want here for description. Create users. Now the last one, I'm gonna create the billing. Create group. So now we have created 4 groups. Now we're gonna create a user. So this user we're gonna create is gonna be very, very important, because this user is gonna be the person that is we'll create one user first. Now this user is gonna be the person that is gonna be the admin. So it's going to replace the root. This person is going to be the admin for this account. So I'm creating a new user, and the username is going to be mo.cgportfolio, and then send an email to this user. Yes, I want the email. then the email address we're going to use is going to be mo.cg@gmail.com. So we can generate a one-time password that we can share with the user definitely, but right now I want them to send me the email with the login credentials. So I'm going to confirm the email, mo.cgportfolio@gmail.com. First name right here, Mo Suleiman. All these are optional, and then next. So I'm gonna add them to the admin group because they're gonna be admin. Next, verify to make sure everything is accurate. Mo.cg portfolio. Okay. Email mo.cg@gmail.com. Okay, everything looks good. Now add user. So the user has been added and enabled. Now if we check our email, we should receive an email for this user. So, and this is it right here. So now we're gonna accept. So this expires in 7 days. We're gonna accept this and then set up our password. So our password is gonna be you set up your own password. So let's see. And then set new password. New password has been set successfully. Now username. Mo.cg portfolio. Next, password. And sign in. Now we are signed in as the user, but we're going to set up MFA for this user. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and set up MFA. So I'm going to use the app authenticate. I'm going to set this up. Okay, now I'm going to be required to enter the code here, 745287. Assign MFA, and this has been done successfully. Done. So this is the access portal. So once we have been assigned all the access and to applications we need, everything is gonna be here. So there is. Let's go back to Identity Center, and we have the user right here. So at the moment we have set up the groups, right? 4 groups. We have set up users. So right now it's gonna be time for to create permission sets. So right now for permission sets, we're going to go to permission sets, and we're going to create permission sets, and we're going to be using the predefined permission sets. So for admin access, let me see here. So for admin access, next. So for the permission, so we're going to just specify the details, session duration. Let's say I'm going to use 12 hours for this. And next, make sure everything is good. And then create. So we have this one, then we're gonna create more permission sets. Next one we're gonna create for the billing. Billing. So since we're gonna be probably giving read access to maybe auditors or something, I'm gonna make this maybe like 2 hours. And then next, create. We're just gonna mimic what we created, the groups we created earlier. So we're gonna have the power user. Next, same thing, let's say 8 hours. Next, create. And last but not the least, it's gonna be the, what was it again? View only. Was it view only? I think it was read only access. Same thing, read only. Let's make it 2 hours. Next, create. So now that we've created the permission sets, we're gonna assign groups and permission sets to accounts. So right now let's see, we'll go to accounts, AWS accounts, and then for the foundation, like for the foundation management right here, we're gonna assign users or groups and assign them admin. Next, administrator access. Next, and then submit. So now this has been reprovisioned. So go back here again. For the log archive, assign. So for the log archive, we're gonna give let me see here. For the log archive, we're gonna give the power user. Next, power user. Next, and then submit. And then for the, we've done this, then for this, networking and security, we're just gonna assign them the read only. Oh no, let's do the power user for them. Next, okay, power user. Next, submit. Awesome. So right now we have successfully set up our account. We created the users in our organizations. We came in here to identity center. I am identity center. Created the groups. Created the user, right? Created the user. Set up the user's account. Where was it? I think this was it. Set up the user's account. Now because we assign admin access to this user, that's why when we refresh now, we see that the user has admin access, and from here the user can just either get access keys or get administrator access keys and just log into their account right now. But right now, if the user clicks, they can just log into the console. So right now we can log out of the management console using the root user, and then use this admin user to then log into any accounts we want for now. So, and that is it for now. We have successfully set up this, and our accounts are ready to go. But I'm gonna come back and try the other accounts for the organization and see if I can set up a sandbox account, because I need a sandbox account to break things in AWS.
Now, this was project 0. This is the foundation for everything we're going to build in the all the projects we're going to build in the cloud. So if you have not set up this already, set all this up, because this is going to be the foundation for everything we're going to build in the cloud. For my upcoming videos, project 1 up until project 100, we are going to be building every single week. I'm going to be posting every single week, so please subscribe, hit that notification bell for notifications for when I post new videos. Download the setup guide, and also visit my website CloudGuard portfolio.com to see every single progress. Please subscribe. I want us to show employers that we can actually build something. So let's build this.